Good morning, friends. I hope you are having an amazing morning. It was a awesome, overwhelming weekend and just so good. And God is so good. And I just was able to be really present. And I'm going to do another video another time about spiritual warfare. But not today. First of all, sorry for the voice. It's not cute. But here we are. And if you want updates on my hairy voice in this YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. Also, found out some of the subscribers I have, much like myself, want their subscriptions to remain private, so I cannot see who they are. That is okay. I do the exact same thing. So whoever you are, I appreciate you. You are beautiful. I am going to try and make this so quick because it is like 6:45 and I got to get my Peabody up soon. But I want to talk about relapse because it happens, right? Some people go on in life and never relapse, and they go from smoking meth every day to never ever again. And a lot of you don't know this, but essentially, I count it as a relapse because it was, but it does not negate everything that I've learned. It does not negate my sobriety time or whatever from the drugs and the alcohol. I started smoking weed about 4 years ago. It was a very short time, but regardless, doesn't matter. I had a relapse in my mind, in my judgment, in my heart. I was in a very dysfunctional place. I was with a very I was in a very dysfunctional relationship. However, my choice. And I allowed certain behaviors to happen. And so I do have an experience with a relapse. I have experience in a relapse in regards to food and in some other sin issues. So I kind of wanted to talk about what do we do after a relapse and how do we prevent another one. So hypothetically, you relapse, whatever that may be. I don't want this channel to just be drugs, alcohol, but it's food, it's mental illness, it's pride, it's gambling, it's literally anything that not removes you from God, but you put between you and God, right? So whatever you may relapse in, it could be gossiping. I don't care. Well, I do care, but I don't. It's not the name of the issue. It's our heart issue, right? So hypothetically, say you relapse. What do? Instantly confess it. Find your tribe. Get honest. Get honest before them, before God. Weep. Grieve the sin. But then you stand up and you accept that forgiveness and say, you know what? It happened. It is. God, thank you. You died on the cross. I ask for your forgiveness and I receive your forgiveness because my identity is not in this sin. And I grieve it. Don't think that it's okay, right? Don't think that, oh my gosh, like I'm forgiven and I'm going to abuse grace. No, like genuinely feel the heartbreak of that and the frustration, but don't stay there because that is such a tactic of the enemy. He wants us to be removed from God. He wants us to be removed from our ministry. He wants us to not feel good enough, to not feel valued. And I've said this to the high school kids that I worked with a while back. I've said this to my friends. I say this to myself. Satan does not have to kill you to take you out. All he has to do is make you feel invaluable, or insecure, or he has to make you distracted, right? He has to get you involved in things that you know that you're not supposed to, but they're really all not that bad. And then you went from one-time full-time ministry to like part-time ministry to no ministry, right? So he wants us to think that God doesn't forgive us. He wants us to think that God doesn't love us and that we're never going to measure up. Why would you want to serve a God that you think doesn't love you or that you will never measure up? Why would you ever want to stand on a pulpit or preach the gospel or have a ministry if you feel like you fail always, right? Awkward. So I know I said kind of three things, but grieve, listen by getting honest and really acknowledging what happened, getting around your tribe, letting people in to the situation, seek God's forgiveness, and receive his forgiveness, right? But then you have to put your bumpers back up, right? So shortly right after my relapse with smoking weed, I went back to as if it was my first day getting off of anything. I cut out a lot of people. I cut out a lot of behaviors. People have mixed feelings about how I handle it, and that's fine. What works for me may not work for you. I get like a little obsessive compulsive, and right now I can handle going to bars. I can handle going to certain things. But right then I said, absolutely not. If I want to get back to where I need to be with my heart and my soul and my mind, I cannot be around certain things and certain behaviors. I can't be around certain smells. And then I just did a lot of prayer and fasting. It's not that I had to. It's not that God loved me any less if I didn't. It's I needed to get my heart right before God. Prayer and fast is more for us, right? Like God knows everything. He is everything. He is everywhere. But for me, prayer and fasting is saying, God, I have all of this other stuff, but I'm going to put it aside because I want you. And I want my heart and my mind to be so focused on you. And right now it's not. And so I really said, okay, I have to, if I want to not relapse again tomorrow or whatever, I have to kind of put up these boundaries again. And then I guess be patient with yourself, guys. I notice whenever I fall short, I can really be super gnarly and nasty to myself. And like, if I were to ever be like, Judah, you never do this, and you never do this, and you never do this, like, he's never going to be good enough for me. And so I tried, Judah, like, thank you. You know, like, you were such a good listener today. Thank you. Or like, hey, I thank you for changing the behavior. You were acting kind of nasty a second ago, but thank you for taking the time to like switch it up, you know? And I think we have to do that with ourselves. We have to remind ourselves like, okay, I fell short, but today I'm not, you know, or I relapsed an hour ago, but that was an hour ago. It's not right now. And we really just have to speak love and life over ourselves. But then kind of to prevent a relapse, right? I said this in another video before, but we don't just pick up using because things are great, right? Sure, I guess some high school kids may be just curious and their friends are doing it and they kind of want to know, but you don't just shoot heroin or daily drink, or even after 8 years or however many long, probably 4. It was 4 years of sobriety because January 7th, 2010 is like my official sobriety date. Anyway, whatever. After 4 years or whatever of sobriety, you don't just pick up smoking weed again. Like, what happened? And so I really had to get right with my heart and say, God, like, where am I? You know, like, if all of a sudden I start drinking caffeine again, what is going on with me? There's something in Celebrate Recovery and just traditional. I don't know. I'm sorry for this annoying cough. But like traditional recovery where Celebrate Recovery is a little bit different, but the one I remember is HALT. Are you hungry? Are you angry? Are you lonely? And are you tired? Because those are some of our biggest trigger moments. Those are our moments where, you know, we relapse sexually because we're lonely and we just want to feel something different. We relapse on Red Bull because we're tired and we're sick of being tired. Or we relapse on a certain attitude, me yesterday, because we're hungry or we're angry or we're upset about something and we don't take the time to step back and say, let me do a heart check, right? Like our cars, if we notice something like jingling in there or it doesn't start right, or even it just doesn't feel right, you bring it in or you look under the hood and you examine what's happening. We need to do that to ourselves. And there is no mocking, there is no judgment, but pastors, for instance, I'm not talking about what is on the news right now. My heart cannot even handle that right now. But I'm talking about those pastors who may have relapsed sexually or done a certain drug or, you know, may have committed suicide. And this is such a sensitive issue. That did not happen overnight. These people didn't just go smoke meth or didn't go and just sleep with a prostitute or go and just commit suicide. This is years and years of a battle that had happened within them. And I don't know their family. I'm not judging their family. I'm not judging their core. I'm not judging them. I'm saying from my experience, I have been in similar situations, and I did not mention where I was struggling because I didn't know where I was struggling. And I tell my friends all the time today, my anger, if I act out in anger or frustration or sassiness, it isn't because I'm necessarily, sorry, my alarm. It isn't because I'm necessarily angry. Anger is a secondary emotion. I am terrified about my father right now. And I know a lot of people can't necessarily tell because I seem so held together, but there are times where I am on my dad's lap just weeping uncontrollably, and or in my friends' cars just weeping, and I have no control over the situation, and it bothers me because I just want to fix it. I am frustrated at being a single parent sometimes. There's sometimes where I just want to like not chase around a toddler, but I don't feel comfortable saying that all the time because everyone's like, "Well, at least you have a child. You know, he's a good kid." Yes. But being a single parent is hard. Being a parent is hard in general. Being a single parent is hard, and it's different way, right? Um and so when I act out in frustration, it's because I haven't really dealt with that like, ugh, today I'm just exhausted and I'm sick of being exhausted. I'm sick of having so much laundry to do. Or I have some unforgiveness toward Judah's biological dad. And it's coming up because there's an anniversary coming up, or there's a memory that I didn't realize I was thinking about. And so we just really have to examine. There's so much scripture. Examine my heart, Lord. Examine me. But then also preventing a relapse. I kind of touched on it a second ago, but putting up your bumpers. I haven't smoked weed in like 4 years, and I haven't drank in over 8. And someone asked me to go to a fire, said there was probably going to be weed and drinking there. And I said, you know what? I'm going to skip this one today. Not because I don't think I can handle it, but I'm in a very vulnerable place. And obviously with Judah, with my job, with my ministry, with my relationship with Christ, I have no desire to use. But I don't like what happens to me emotionally when I am that tempted. Temptation is not a sin. It happens. It happens to Jesus. He was tempted in the desert. He was challenged in the desert. I don't like the mental battlefield that I have to go through after I'm encountering something like that. So know yourself and know your limits, and say, you know what, just not today. It's just not worth it. It's not that I think I'm gonna use. I don't want to smell it. I don't want to see it. I don't want to be around it. It's gonna frustrate me and put me in a weird place, and I just don't want to do it. But then also, and this is my favorite, when we remove something from our lives, so initially the emotional detox is stinking terrible. It's so terrible because when you're drinking or you're using or you're doing whatever, you're shoving it down your mouth, right? And you're stuffing your emotions, and you're stuffing your heart, you're stuffing everything. So when you stop doing that, all of that comes out. And so that emotional detox sucks. It just is terrible. You may not experience physical, but you will experience mental and emotional and sometimes spiritual. And it is so overwhelming. But one, to get all of that out means that you're doing it. And so although it sucks and it's frustrating, know that you're in the right place. And I know that's so hard to think about, but when you're working out and your muscles are hurting, you did something, right? But then why it's my favorite is because you have now room for different things that you didn't before. I remember not knowing what my favorite color was. I remember not knowing what my favorite hobbies were, or the things that I liked. I had no idea. And you get to figure that out. You get to go kayaking or rock climbing or horseback riding or whatever, and find out what things you like, because there is now an empty space. And for me, I have to have fun in my recovery. And I actually had to really redefine that fun didn't necessarily mean sin, and sin didn't mean fun. Because everything that I did in my past that I thought was fun was sinful. There was no good way in me. There really wasn't. But knowing that now that I have removed these temptations, or I haven't, but I'm not specifically putting myself in the line of fire. Now I have to find things that are fun. Like go to Busy Bees or Billy Bees or whatever and go on all the slides. Like do it. So fun. But then also that hole is left for a new, awesome, rich, incredible spot for Jesus Christ. I was trying to fill a God-sized hole with sin-filled stuff, and it wasn't working. So I was never satisfied. I was never content. I was never happy. I was never confident, because that wasn't for that. It was like sticking a square peg, you know, those little toy things for kids, a square peg into a circle hole. It just was not gonna work. But in my sin and in my addiction, I was gonna make it work, and I was gonna force it. And that's where the hole got bigger, because I was creating cuts, I was creating scar tissue, and I was making that hole bigger. I was making that desperate need bigger. And so I thought I had to use more or do more or fix more to fill it. And all it was literally Jesus Christ himself. That's all it needed to go there. And so those are my two favorite things that I get to find new fun. Even today, I'm still discovering things about myself that, like, I never knew were there, or I never knew I liked, you know, and it's fun. Or even, you know, not doing a certain behavior and starting a relationship with a person, and the only thing you have to do is to talk to one another. That's so incredible. Like, we don't take time to get to know one another anymore, because our culture is so R-rated, and so the expectation is sex. When you're not doing that and you're dating, you're forced to just look across the other person and be like, who are you? You know, like, it's fun. But yeah, so Lord Jesus help me, I'm already up 17 minutes, and I was passionate about this one because it did not even feel like 17 minutes. Guys, let me know if you have any questions. I recently found out a loved one of mine had a friend that relapsed, and we just need to be praying for our friends. We need to be praying to protect them. We need to be praying with them. We need to let them know that we are there and we care. If you have a friend that is struggling, please send them this video. Tell them I love them. Celebrate Recovery is an awesome resource. I'm going to put their website in my description box below. They started in California, so they are all over the place. It's a Christian 12-step program. AA and NA, awesome programs. I attended that. Al-Anon, amazing. That is the support of those who love an addict of any kind, and just how to handle life. So, guys, I'm praying for you. I am really on your team. I'm rooting for you. Please connect with me on whether it be Instagram, my email, or even just my personal Facebook. I would love to chat with you. But if you request my Facebook, please let me know that it's from here, because I started denying people, and I was like, oh dang, I forgot that I was like telling you guys to add me. So if I denied you, I'm sorry. Please add it again. But just message me and let me know. So I love you guys. I'm praying for you, and I'll talk to you soon.